Volbeat with me now. We've got Mike, the lead singer, and I know you guys killed it on stage earlier today. I only got to catch a little bit of it because it's been so crazy busy here. But what did you think about the crowd? There's 50,000 people out there sweating their asses off for you guys.
Yeah, we were very surprised. There was actually a circle pit from the first song to the last one. So you cannot ask for more.
Absolutely.
Good weather. So we were having a good time.
Absolutely. I have to ask you a question about the name of the band because did you know it was a Pokemon character?
I didn't know when I started the band, but
I kind of figured that you didn't because I couldn't imagine you're a huge fan of
not really.
the anime and the.
The thing was, when I started the band, I was still having a normal day job, and I was working as a supporting teacher in a school, and some of the very young kids came over to me, and they knew that I was working on some kind of music, and they asked what was the name of the band, and I said, "Oh, Volbeat," and they all just started to laugh. I said, "What the fuck are you laughing at?" "Oh, your band is a Pokemon figure." Go away, man. And then they just show me this poster with this really
weird
fly, a Pokemon figure, and I said, "Oh no!" But I was thinking, well, if the youngsters can remember my band because of that,
you
maybe
got to start somewhere.
Yeah, then I might not lose in the end.
Well, where does the name come from, though? For real, though.
It's actually my former band was named Dominus.
That was a really hard.
Yeah, that was death metal.
Yeah.
And the third album we did was called Volbeat. So vol is for volume, and beat speaks for itself.
Now you guys, is this your third Volbeat album? Fourth. Okay. And you're just starting to really. You're just starting to get familiarized here in the States, and Still Counting is from your last album. Is it weird for you to come out here and it's just now getting airplay here in the States? Because I know over in Europe, the rock scene is so completely different. It's just crazy there, and here we're like 10 years behind.
Yeah, and you're also behind with the songs because Still Counting is actually from our third album.
Yeah.
And we released 4 albums, so it's a little bit better than they pick up the songs that they don't. So but we actually went #1 on the Billboard with a song from the new album called Warrior's Call, and
we'll play that 10 years from today. Just kidding.
That was huge. We were on the Gigant tour with Megadeth and Motorhead, and got the call from American management, and they said, "Now you're #1." And we said, okay.
Which song?
We knew it was with the Warriors Call, but we didn't know what radio charts it was, so we didn't think too much about it, because we're all about being out there playing live and everything. But then he said, it's the Billboard, right? I said, what? Okay, that's crazy, so that was pretty cool.
Well, you guys have a very unique sound to the band, and I love that your album, every song is different sounding. I love that about you guys.
Cool.
I'm assuming you do that on purpose. So when you go in to write your albums and produce these albums, do you go in like when you're writing? Do you write all of them mainly, or do you guys collectively get together and write them?
Oh, I write.
Do you have like something in mind when you go in and start writing, or are you just one of those people you have a thought and you just start writing, or do you kind of when you're writing and you're thinking about the album, do you say, well, I want it to sound like this, and then I want this song to sound like this, and how do you decide? Because it's whatever it is you're doing, it's great. I love that you mix it up so much.
That's not really any formula, because when I started writing material for Volbeat, it was all about not trying to paint myself into a corner and only be 100% metal or 100% rock and roll or country, whatever. Nothing wrong with that, but for me it was more about if I wanted that song to start out like a country song and let it burst into a metal song, then that's what I did. But during the time I was writing, I can see that if I was writing down on paper what style it was, I couldn't figure it out, because there was so many styles combined, like country and metal and rockabilly and those and punk, and so I said, well, it's just gonna be the Volbeat style, and then we don't.
I love that. Yeah.
Too much about what it actually is, And I think that's very honest, you know. We don't try to be anything that we're not. So, you know, it's just about writing songs straight from the heart. And I grew up with parents who were always listening to music from the 50s.
Well, you can definitely tell that's a big influence.
It is. And, you know, later on as a teenager, I discovered the metal scene. So, and I love both, you know, the rock and roll scene, and especially the legendary performers from the 50s.
So who's one of your favorites from the 50s?
Oh, you know, everybody knows them, you know.
You know, like Elvis,
Johnny
right?
Cash, you know, Chuck Berry, Little Richard. And
Yeah, well, you have a Johnny Cash tattoo, don't you? In this,
Oh,
yeah.
over here.
Okay, I was wondering. I know I saw a picture and I was like, oh my god, that's sweet.
But, you know, there was still a lot of great artists standing in the shadow of the legendary performers. So, you know, it's just generally there's a lot of great music been written in the 50s. And, you know, I can still put on those records and they still... you know, that's still amazing.
Well, and it still has staying power now, you know what I mean? In 2012, and a lot of bands, you know, little baby bands up and coming, you know, they're trying to find their unique sound, and you guys definitely have found your unique sound. I mean, you're just being you, and I think that's probably why it works. Were people confused, record label people, like, what do we do with these guys? Like, where do we put them?
Yeah, you know, we actually had a problem getting signed because, you know...
They don't know what to do with you,
Yeah, but it was like... You know, we were talking to different labels, small and big ones, and they all said, you know, somehow we like it, but who the hell's going to buy it? You know, it was like they didn't really dare to take the chance. And then we signed to a small label from Netherlands called Mascot Records. He said, I can sell that. You know, he totally believed in it. And it went really well. So, you know, after fulfilling, you know, the contract with him, you know, we signed later to Universal worldwide, you know, and it's fun, you know, all the labels we've been knocking at the door in the beginning, you know, they came knocking at our door at the end, and, you know, and that's how the business worked, you know. You cannot really blame them for anything, you know. They didn't believe us in the beginning, but that's just the way it is. And now, you know, we're doing good, and, you know, it seems there are a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, and now that you're starting to build your audience here in the States, I mean, I think people are still confused with the sound, but they're digging it, you know what I mean? Because it's refreshing, it's something different than the same old, so it's working for you guys,
Totally,
you know?
yeah.
So are you, is there a band here, like, that, are you doing the whole festival scene? Like, what, are you guys touring continuously throughout the States now, or are you going back to Europe? Like, what's your schedule like?
We're not... We only have one show in Europe where we're headlining Wacken in Germany. And that's mainly because the last, you know, the band has been in existence for 10 years, but, you know, the last 5 years we've been touring massively in Europe. And, you know, in Europe we play arenas like 10, 12, 16,000 people.
That was going to be my next question. Like, are you used to big crowds, you know?
Yeah, and you know, so... We don't want to overexpose the name in Europe, and since, you know, we figure out pretty quick that the United States were really big, so it takes some time to get all the way around. So, you know, this year we've been touring America 4 or 5 times, you know, because it seems like there's a big buzz going on right now, and, you know, we can do it. And so this year is definitely a year where Volbeat is going to tour America a lot. Yeah.
Well, you guys, like you said, have been doing this for a long time. Is there any bands that you haven't gotten to play with that you would want to play with?
Sure, you know, that it's, you know, we've been playing with so many great bands we look up to, you know, including Metallica, Megadeth, and Motorhead. A few shows with Slayer, even Hang the Third. We had a couple of shows with him, and Social Distortion. We were on the same bill.
How was that? Because I know that you have a tattoo.
Yeah.
You're a big fan. Styles is a big fan. Like, what was it like the first time you got to play with them?
You know, it was great. You know, it was some festival shows where they were on the same bill, and we were playing straight after each other. And I met Mike a couple of times. You know, great legendary performer.
Right.
Great songwriter. Those guys are great, and you know, he's the real deal.
Does he influence you at all, as far as, you know?
Totally. You know, it's I'm pretty much aware of where I got my inspiration from now and then, but other times I have no idea where it comes from.
You just get it.
No, you just, you know, have to follow your heart. You know.
Yeah. Is it hard being a musician and writing songs and putting your emotions on a piece of paper and then singing it in front of people? Because you're exposing yourself.
Yeah.
Really.
Yes and no. You know, there's some few songs One of them is dedicated to my father. I lost 3 years ago. One of them is dedicated to a friend I have who's struggling with cancer. So there's those really emotional songs going on, but somehow it also helps me to get through it.
It's like therapy, yeah.
Yeah. So it's I still see it as a win situation.
Absolutely. Well, you get to. It's like therapy. You get it out there.
Yeah.
People love your songs, and
and you still. I still believe that somewhere they can hear the song.
Yeah. Well, if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
I would probably be working with handicapped kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I tried that once, and that was a good job.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. So the future of you guys now, you're just gonna tour and work on this album, or are you in the process of writing another one?
Again, a lot of touring, and the plan is to go into the studio in October. And
Sweet.
then, there's going to be a new release in the new year.
And then next year, we'll look for something new from you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you talking to us, and we're going to continue to get the name out there of you guys and make you big in the States. and in 10 years, we'll play your next single, I promise.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.